Hey guys, welcome to the Madroit podcast, where it is our goal to deliver short podcasts filled with marketing and sales insights that can help you level up your business. So, for those who aren't in marketing all day, every day, here's what you're going to get. It's our goal to provide you actionable marketing and business nuggets that take the mystery out of marketing to help you achieve growth that will be for sure to help you level up. So today, fun episode that we got going on. We're going to go through some Q&A that we've gotten from a few different areas. So some questions from some of our clients that we've had, but then additionally from listeners who are looking to gain some marketing insights from us and had some questions that they wanted us to get into. So if you're ready for it, man, I think we're just going to dive right into it.
Let's do it.
Awesome. All right. So first question coming from John F. What is the difference between marketing and advertising?
It's a great question. We get it all the time, of course. Bear with me. I'm going to read through something I think just nails it. Some people think marketing is advertising or branding or some other vague concept. While all these are associated with marketing, they are not one and the same. Here's the simplest, most jargon-free definition of marketing I think you'll come across. If a circus is coming to town and you paint a sign saying circus coming to showground Saturday, that's advertising. If you put a sign on the back of an elephant and walk it into town, that's promotion. If the elephant walks through the mayor's flower bed and the local newspaper writes a story about it, that's publicity. And if you get the mayor to laugh about it, that's public relations. If the town citizens go to the circus, you show them many entertainment booths, explain how much fun they'll have spending money at the booths, answer their questions, and ultimately they spend a lot at the circus, that's sales. And if you plan the whole thing, that's marketing.
Yeah, I think it's such a great way to capture all the different elements, but understanding that they're all the pieces that make up the puzzle that is marketing. It's such a cool, and I love the fact that it's the circus. The circus, one of the true great advertising and promotional items and events rather that has been around for a long time. So it's definitely an easy one to picture. A follow-up question too from John is how to best measure campaign ROI. So hitting on return on investment. And I think there's so many different ways that we can do that, right? When I think it really depends on what your goals are as far as your marketing plan, but then also how your marketing plan aligns with your overall business goals and objectives. So if the goal is sales, then we need to leverage high sales producing tactics, right? If we want brand awareness, like how are we measuring the things that are most important to you? Because it's easy for us to sit here and say that ROI is strictly dollars and cents, right? But ROI could be, well, I got X amount of people to now sign up for my newsletter. I have X amount of people that showed up to my webinar or my event, whatever the case might be. And that's true ROI in those cases. But diving into the analytics and making sure that you have the appropriate measures in place, whether that be digitally, whether that be from like your traditional means as well. But everything is measured, calculated, and then you have reporting in place.
Absolutely. Thinking about it, right? Like you have ROI for one specific campaign, but then you have several campaigns and then you group all those together as far as like marketing dollars, right? What's the ROI on marketing? To actually analyze, if you're doing a lot of marketing, you want to analyze each campaign and what the ROI of that campaign is.
Yeah, I think what you said makes a lot of sense though, because it is truly like measuring out each individual piece.
Yeah.
Right. Not just lumping it all together as a whole and just saying this was great or man, this sucked. We could never do that again.
Yeah.
So I think really making sure that you dive in, have accurate reporting, because if one campaign is just skyrocketing and going crazy, then promote that, right? Keep it rolling. If another one is struggling and not producing the results, then it's really important that we figure out why and what adjustments we need to make so it gets on the right track.
Well said. Another one from John F. said, what percentage of clients' top line revenue should be allocated to their marketing budget?
Oh man. So it's funny because I think when I speak with clients, I speak with friends who are running businesses and what's that magical number? And I think people are always looking for just, man, it's 15%, it's 20%, that's Bible. And I don't think you can do that because your market conditions and your industry is going to play a major factor. Your competition is going to play a major factor in all those things. But for folks that are starting off, when they're trying to establish a realistic marketing budget based on their revenue, I've always felt and told folks based on research, based on industry experience, between that 8 to 12% range was always a sweet spot. Now, there's going to be times where it needs to be closer to 15. There's going to be times where you might be able to skate by if it's 3, 4%. Like so you have to understand that there's going to be fluctuation, that there's going to be variance, but that's certainly a place to really have in your mind like we're generating sales, we want to ultimately generate more sales. Those numbers are typically correlated with the percentage that you're spending in your overall marketing budget.
Well said. And depending on the company too and the stage of it, right? Like an established company, yeah, those things make sense. With a startup, you might be putting all of your money into marketing, right? Like percentage of revenue, if you have a little revenue, but you're trying to quadruple it over the next year and a half, something that a normal business isn't going to aspire to typically, but a startup,
Right.
absolutely.
Yeah. That's why there is such that variance there for sure. Next one from Jeff. And Jeff, I like this question a lot because I think it's something that we've been talking about quite a bit here in the pod, but then also internally as well about how we help in these areas. Jeff, you've mentioned funnels before, and I've pieced it together, but still not 100% sure what it is. What are you talking about, and what is a funnel?
Great question. Yeah, we do talk about funnels a lot. There's two types, really. You have a marketing funnel and a sales funnel. There's funnels for everything, right? It's a progression of someone moving through a funnel. So for your typical marketing funnel, you have awareness. Someone has to be aware of who you are to buy from you. Then you have an interest stage, consideration where they might actually, or they're looking into buying something from you, conversion stage where they ultimately have, and then the loyalty and basically converting those people into referral partners and repeat customers or clients, right?
Yeah, I would just add with that the structure of your funnel is, I think, really important for you to understand what the components are, what the makeup of those individual phases that you just talked about right there are, and how long your clients ultimately could stay in those phases, depicting especially that buyer journey for you in your sales team or for you and your marketing team so that everybody has a very clear picture of what the expectation is and then how fast we should expect them to progress or how many touch points, how much brand awareness, how many sales tactics need to go into helping them progress through that funnel. Yeah, love that. Love the question just because I think it's open, but also there's so much that can go into each one of those.
Yeah.
All right.
Another question here from Jack L. When your business relies heavily on cold lead gen through networking, a lot of handshaking, what's the best way you could supplement your marketing in the awareness phase or stage of the funnel? His example is thinking in industrial sectors like manufacturing, warehousing, distribution, logistics, etc.
Man, great question. And I think this is one where the awareness phase is something that is so valuable, but also something for the short and long term, right? So when I think about awareness, how are people finding you? How are they even being made aware of who you are? In this case, Jack talks a lot about networking, handshaking, but also the first thing that they're going to do after you shake that hand, probably going to your website, probably going to check out what you're doing on social, probably going to look at what your presence is in your community. So I think when we talk about this, it's things like SEO, right, that are going to help you generate those first touch points when they are searching for you from an organic standpoint. But then additionally, what is your website looking like? What is it doing for you? Does it represent the type of quality that you just got done talking to them about on your at your networking events, or if you're at dinner, if you're hanging out between sessions or something like that at an event, discussing that they're searching for you, right? They're going to look for you. They look for the things that you guys do, and then how you're involved in your communities and what your reputation overall is.
Well said. Absolutely. And part of the sales part of that, right? Like the networking is you want to make it easy for them to get to your website. So yeah, maybe you've exchanged business cards, but if they've given you their card, their email, phone, you should follow up. Make it easy. Obviously, you should have the website right in your email signature, but you just follow up and say, hey, it was great to meet you, et cetera, et cetera. And then make it really easy for them to click to get more information. Or if you have something of value to offer them, a webinar that you have upcoming, that's great too. That's a great authority builder and awareness builder. And then you get them to the site. You can do something like LinkedIn retargeting, depending on the industry, retargeting with ads in general. But if you're this type of networking and handshaking, LinkedIn retargeting can be a great way to keep that awareness going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's important that we stress awareness phase, right?
True.
Like you're not looking at LinkedIn retargeting, SEO in this case, as a huge stream of lead generation. You're looking to be that authority for you. And I think the webinar is a great suggestion, because inviting people to a webinar where they can gain value from the things that you guys talk about or the things that you sell is just a great, very easy way to generate a relationship and begin that working relationship just through idea exchange and information.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, great question. All right, next question coming from Melanie. And Melanie has a question about social media apps. So the question is, what key considerations should you make as a marketer when reviewing what social media platforms are right for your business?
That's a great question. A few things to consider off the top of my head. Like, where's your audience first and foremost? Are the people that you're trying to target hanging out on those social media platforms? First question. And then second one, do you think you can authentically post and create content that fits those platforms?
Yes. Like post and create content consistently, I would add.
Yeah.
A month, once every couple weeks and whatnot. You can't post with that level of frequency and expect to build and grow your audience. It takes frequency. It takes a good mixture of content as well, right? Between the relatable, we used to call it the bring your dog to work posts, but then also like the building awareness for a sale that you have going on or like a promotional item. Mixing those in so your audience gets a good variety of both is just so crucial, because you don't want to be the person or the business that is just constantly saying sell on your social platforms. Do you want that to be your identity, that the only thing that you care about is sales? That's the question that I would ask when it's, hey, we need to put this promo out there, that promo. No, we actually need to be showing that we had 2 people from XYZ location go and volunteer at the fair over the weekend or at the softball event, because it shows like we're dedicated to our community.
Yeah.
So that variety is huge. And I think the platforms that you do it on, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or anything like that, and LinkedIn especially, everybody and their brother, sister, friends should be on LinkedIn. And I just think it's becoming such a valuable platform for businesses.
Absolutely. And some of this stuff, right, like producing content for TikTok is tough for people who are like consuming it all day or that creative type, right? I wouldn't say I'm great at producing TikTok content, but I am great, I think, about talking about marketing and sales, right? Same as you. And of course, we use the podcast for those platforms and post relevant content in the format that those users appreciate and expect. So,
Yeah.
like, if you don't have a podcast, one, sure, we could help you with that. But two, if you're doing this all in house and you don't want to sit in front of a camera and create content like that, then maybe shy away from TikTok and focus on LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram, et cetera. Right.
Yeah, exactly. And understanding, to your point earlier, understanding where your audience is helps you make those decisions.
Yep.
And so following is growing on Facebook, cool. Keep it rolling on Facebook. You're trying to break into Instagram, make sure that you're posting consistently on Instagram, and the same goes for LinkedIn. So that consistency is key. Actually received this next question from a new client that we recently started working with. And the question itself is very straightforward and direct. Traffic to our website is dropping. Likes to hear that. We do SEO. So why is that traffic dropping?
Jay, you want to run with this one?
Where to begin? First thing that we do is we obviously dive in and we take a look at what is the root cause. One of the things that we look at, especially from an organic side, is you're doing SEO, but how often are you refreshing the keywords that you're focused on? And how often are you refreshing the content on the website? How is your internal linking on your website? And the biggest thing with SEO, I feel like, is don't get overly technical, but try to make it make sense. When it's something as simple as, okay, we need to reorganize our keyword lists to leverage the keywords that are getting the most search volume. And now all of a sudden, all we have to do is make some tweaks to our headers or to our descriptions to make sure that those keywords are included, because something may have made a slight tweak, but now that old keyword that you were targeting or that old phrase was generating, we'll say, 80 searches a month. And now the revamped one that you can incorporate on your website is actually doing 2,400 searches a month. Now that variance is pretty dramatic, but I think those are some of the examples that we see, and making sure that those keyword lists are refreshed, so you know that those are what your website's focusing on, that they're geared to, and ultimately that's what's going to keep pushing you forward. But if anybody hops into SEO and says that they do SEO, we've said this before in the pod, it is not a set it and forget it situation.
Said that we did this or we were doing well 6 years ago. Not sure what happened. Like, we get that, of course. I'm not making fun of anyone. It's just, if you put it to the wayside and don't continue to optimize or keep an eye on it and make sure it's doing well, then yeah, you fall behind. Not to mention all the algorithm changes. So keeping up with that, obviously that's what we do, but that stuff's important.
Yeah, and I think we just harped on consistency, right, with social media, and it's very much the same with SEO. You have to be consistently making updates. You have to stay on top of it, but then also making sure that your marketing plan is aligned with your overall business goals and objectives. Because if the business goals and objectives are pushing one way, but your marketing plan is staying the course with the old way, those are never going to be aligned, and you're never going to be pulling on the rope all in the same direction. So hope that helped. That wraps up our first Q&A episode of the podcast. If you have a question or a topic or suggestion for us that you'd like us to go over, visit madroitmarketing.com/podcast. And if you'd like to ask a specific question related to your company, feel free to reach out to us on our website. As always, we'd like for you to like and subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts. If this episode was helpful, would you share it with someone you know that could possibly benefit from hearing this? It would mean a lot. Thanks, guys.